The women's job. A year ago, I was on top of the world. I was not even 30 years old, and already I was making six figures as the sales manager in a large insurance firm. I had a new BMW, a large spacious apartment, and a beautiful girlfriend. I was Mike Richardson, a corporate dynamo who was in total control of his future. And now, just a year later, that's all gone. My name is now Michelle Smith, and I'm working as a lowly secretary, making just above minimum wage. My car and my girlfriend are gone. I was living in a dumpy, crowded apartment, but luckily my boyfriend Eric is letting me move in with him. How did this all happen? Let me explain. About 2 years ago, I was one of the two head honchos in the sales department. The other co-manager of the department was a bitch named Julie Black. She was hired by the company at about the same time I was, and for the entire time we were there, we were incredibly competitive. I hated that wench. The position of sales manager was initially supposed to be mine exclusively. But when Julie found out I was going to be promoted, she threatened to file a sex discrimination lawsuit. So to avoid any legal action, they gave her an equal position as me. I hated her even more then. We were serving as co-managers for about 6 months when there was a huge shakeup in the company. The former president of the company, an old family friend, was being replaced with Vera Spellman, a cutthroat, no-nonsense businesswoman. She had a notorious reputation for hating men, supposedly because she had experienced so much sex discrimination when she was first starting out. About a week after Vera joined the company, she set up a meeting with Julie and me to go over changes in the sales department. When we walked into her office, the woman was just as I had envisioned her. She was dressed in a professional suit with an incredibly stern look on her face that clearly indicated that she meant business. Vera explained to us that because of cutbacks, some of the upper-level staff would have to be eliminated. This included one of the co-manager positions. Thus, only one of us could be the manager, and she would interview us both before making her final decision. I kind of knew right then and there that I would be getting fired, knowing Vera's reputation as a man-hater. My interview confirmed my suspicions. For more than an hour, Vera utterly criticized my job performance, berating me while praising Julie. She told me that she expected more from me, given all the advantages you have as a man. The news was inevitable. The next day, all three of us assembled, and Vera informed us that Julie would remain as sales manager while my position would be terminated. Well, I asked, at least I can go back to being a salesman, right? I'm afraid not, replied Vera without any iota of compassion. There are no openings for you to be a sales rep. The only open position for you in the sales department will be with the secretarial staff. What? I said in disbelief. A secretary. Hell, that's a job for flunkies. With all my experience, all my education, I deserve something better than that. Then Vera gave me the harshest look I'd ever seen a woman give. Listen, Buster, she said. Don't you dare criticize the secretarial staff. I started out as a secretary, and look where I am now. They work their asses off for all the big shot managers. If you ever want to be a manager again, you'll have to work your way up to the top, just like I did. It sounds like this experience may actually be a good lesson for you. You'll finally learn what it's like to do real work. And with that, the meeting ended. As we left, Julie couldn't help but laugh. I can't believe this, she giggled. You once thought you were so much better than I am. And now you're just a lowly secretary. Shut up, Julie. I said. This is hard enough without you rubbing it in. Excuse me. I'm your boss now. It's not appropriate for you to call me by my first name. From now on, you will address me as Ms. Black. Understood? Yes. Julie glared at me. Yes, Ms. Black. Good, Julie said. Tomorrow we'll get you started on your secretarial training. When I got home, I pondered my dilemma. Working as a secretary would mean a major cut in my pay, my benefits, as well as my self-respect. But on the other hand, I put 5 years into the company. I couldn't just throw all that away. I figured there was no way that Vera Spellman would last that long as company president. I thought I could just ride out the storm until she got kicked out, and then I would get my job as manager back. So the next day I swallowed my pride and faced my first day as secretary. Julie decided to make me her executive secretary. She figured that way she would be my direct boss and thus have complete control over me. I would have to follow her every command or else lose my job with the company. Things went good as they could get given the situation, for about 2 weeks. Then one day Julie called all of the secretaries in the department in for a special meeting. As we entered the conference room, she handed us all a memo. On the subject line were the words, "Dress code changes." As the new manager, Julie said, "I have decided that this workplace environment should look more professional. Some of you have been a bit too casual with your attire, so I have made a new code that I expect you all to adhere to. It will be strictly enforced." At first, I was a bit puzzled, because the memo clearly didn't apply to me. It described a no-pants policy, only professional-looking skirts and dresses were acceptable. In addition, no casual or athletic shoes were permitted. Anyone not wearing high heels would be fired on the spot. Finally, it was strongly suggested that we wore an appropriate amount of makeup to show that we took pride in our appearance. Julie saw the puzzled look on my face, and before I could even let out the question, she looked right into my eyes and said, "I expect everyone to adhere to these rules." Everyone. I thought it must have been some kind of joke. "Excuse me, Julie or Ms. Black. This new policy doesn't make any sense. Why on earth would I want to wear skirts and high heels?" Julie made a sadistic grin and said, "I could care less about what you want. This is about what I want. In case you've forgotten, I'm the boss, not you. All right, bitch, this is the last straw." I yelled. "I can tolerate being your peon, but there's no way you're going to humiliate me further by putting me in dresses." Meanwhile, one of the other secretaries, Phyllis, chimed in. "Well, I think this dress policy is completely fair. It's not comfortable wearing skirts, pantyhose, and heels every day. If we have to do it, why shouldn't he? He doesn't deserve any special treatment." "I agree," said Julie. "Mike, you forget, you're not a manager anymore. You're just a secretary, like Phyllis and the rest of the girls. You don't get any special treatment just because you're a man. You'll have to suffer in heels and skirts like the rest of them." Julie then picked up the phone, saying, "I know how we can settle this." She called Vera and asked her to come over right away.